As Tanzania heads to the polls tomorrow, questions are emerging following over the credibility of the electoral process. Civil society activists both in Tanzania and in Kenya are calling for transparency, even as some dismiss the exercise as predetermined. NTV's Catherine Omanto reports.
With just hours to voting day, tension and anticipation are building across Tanzania. The National Electoral Commission has assured citizens of a free and fair election, but critics say the contest lacks real competition.
Because we've got three sides of Tanzanians that want to participate during this election cycle. One wants to tick meaning they want to vote. The second team is the team that wants to stay and protect the vote, whether it's to count or confirm. I do not know what that means. And then the third one, which says we want to protest no reforms, no elections. So on the two other sides of the protectors of the vote and the no reforms, no election, in as much as they may gather peacefully, I see the state coming in to disperse them. And knowing how the state has dispersed assembly in Tanzania, it may end up violent, or people might get arrested if they plan to proceed on the election date.
In the ballot, voters will choose between President Samia Suluhu Hassan and 16 other contenders. But two of Hassan's main opponents, Tundu Lissu of Chadema and Luhaga Mpina of ACT Wazalendo, have been barred from seeking the presidency.
President Samia Suluhu is preparing for her coronation, as her only opposition is her very own shadow. All her main opposition candidates have either been detained or barred from participating by the Independent National Electoral Commission.
Lissu, a charismatic opposition figure who returned from European exile after surviving an assassination attempt in 2017, said on Monday night that he had been placed in isolation as the country prepares to vote. The head of the Chadema party, in custody since April on treason charges, told supporters that his fellow inmates had been moved, leaving him alone, a move the critics say is meant to silence him on the eve of the election.
These atrocities and crimes against humanity are primarily against perceived opponents of the current regime and many people who rally against electoral malpractice.
Political repression has intensified ahead of Wednesday's presidential election, raising concerns over whether the vote will truly be free and fair. According to Amnesty International, authorities have suppressed opposition voices, silenced the media, and undermined the independence of the Electoral Commission.
There was the promise to make reforms, constitutional reforms, because Tanzanians have been demanding that, opposition party have been demanding that, and she came saying that I'll be that person who will unite you. So months down the line, and in my view is that perhaps it became clearer that maybe the opposition was gaining more popularity in the calls for the reforms themselves, having been the ones that called for the reforms. I think the president decided that she must consolidate power if she was to win in the coming elections. And I foresee that is the moment that things started going badly.
Civil society groups are urging calm, encouraging citizens to turn up and exercise their democratic right peacefully. More than 37 million voters have registered nationwide. The Zanzibar Electoral Commission began early voting on Tuesday for election staff and security forces, a process opposition parties say lacks transparency. Catherine Omanto, NTV.